All right, people, it is Friday night. It is July 26, 2019. And I guess this is the last uh, July Friday we'll do. And welcome, everybody. The links are in the usual places. I've got the YouTube site going right now, which I'm rearranging. So I've got the pop out chat box sitting next to me. And I can watch you guys if you want to watch on YouTube. Come in and visit with me there and use the text chat box to communicate with us. I encourage any of our audio video guests to come in and also use the chat box. Forgive me if I seem distracted. I'm busy getting all of these windows parked in the right place. I encourage all my video audio guests to come in and pop that chat box out with the three little dots at the top right, so you can see who's posting on YouTube and help me keep up with what's going on. Right now, there's only one watcher over there, and hopefully that'll be filling up fast. And we have our usual message: the Hangout on the Air is live, and Hangouts on the Air is going away August 1st for a quick streaming try. YouTube.com/webcam. Well, that doesn't quite work for us because we can't get the whole crew in here at the same time, plus record the show, plus do the chat box. So um, come next week, we might have to make a change on how we're doing this. We're going to go ahead and go through as our usual plan. Hopefully, it works fine tonight, and we'll go on as usual until midnight. And whoever the diehards are, if we got a enthusiastic conversation going, we'll hang in until the wee hours of the morning. So, everybody, welcome. I'm glad to be back. I've been out. I was supposed to have been out this week and even missing this show because I was going to be at the beach. But any of you who saw my video announcements that I made before and after the fact, I spent my entire vacation in the hospital getting a new bionic hip. So now I've got two titanium hips, and there ain't nothing left to break, unless I, like I said on the video announcement, unless I want to start popping ribs one at a time. But I think we'll stop while we're ahead. And can't tell you how happy I am to be back, though. I'm feeling good. I can walk on both legs. This new one does not need the tender treatment of several months of tippy toeing on the walker like I did with the first titanium hip. And I jumped out of bed at the hospital. Well, relatively speaking, and was able to bear full weight right away. And until the muscles get sorted out, everything gets back into place from being moved around. Still limping around, use the walker for balance, but hey, I can walk without it if I really need to. So this is going to be a quick comeback. I know y'all are sick to death of hearing me talk about comebacks, but I am hereby declaring this is the last rusty comeback story you're going to have to hear for a long time. Uh, so, with that, let's get started. On the chat box side, of course, we've got the super chat $sign at the bottom of the chat box that you see from the YouTube watch page is a block $sign that you can use to contribute to our cause and help keep Sparky up to date on his server fees and equipment that it takes him to broadcast from places like the Nats. And it looks like Sparky's out there already. So hang on and let Sparky enter the house. And there you go. Good evening, Sparky. And let me unmute my speakers here. Okay, we should be all hooked up now.
All
And
right.
so let's have fun. You did a great show last Saturday night. I watched it probably Monday or Tuesday. I finally got to where I could focus on what I was doing enough to watch the show. And you had some pretty good. It was small. You had pretty good visitors, but they carried the conversation, and it turned out to be a fun little show. So I appreciate you doing that.
We did another one on our other site that I've uploaded, and I want to tell you about that. Come August 1st, we're going to have to be switching over to our other site. It'll be announced in the at the bench thread. It'll give you the link, and that link stays the same all the time because that's a dedicated server for Stunthangar. The nice thing about it, Rusty, is we couldn't. You had a problem with OBS. Well, I paid him some more money, and there should be a little record button on the bottom of the window for you, and you hit that, and you'll record the show, and then save it to your computer. I don't know whether you can upload it from your end or not, but we'll have to do a Dropbox and get it to me, and then we can upload it on the YouTube side.
Okay.
However, it won't be live, but you can still announce on YouTube that we're going to be on our other.
Yeah. Maybe as we go along, we can improvise some way to bring them in live. But hey, at least we got something to keep going pretty much seamlessly, and I'm glad about that. So that'll be a big help.
I don't know how powerful your computer is, but my computer will run both sites at the same time and the same camera. It's pretty strange.
Mine might. I've got a quad core computer. It's 5 years old and HP, and it's got I think 8 gigs of RAM. So it might do the job. We'll say do the best we can and work it out as we go. We had plenty of bugs to work out when we started the Hangouts, and if we have a few to work out over there on that new site, then we'll figure it out. But it'll be good.
Yeah, YouTube is changing to become just Tube.
No kidding, really?
Yeah, it's going to be Tube. They want you to buy a premium membership and get on their premium streaming service. And they're getting rid of Hangouts. I can see this coming already. It's going to be just Tube.
In other words, they could give us everything we've got now, probably, and more if you pay for it, but not a free service.
No, I don't think so. I don't think they're gonna go even with a pay service. This takes up a lot of bandwidth to get everybody streaming on the same channel. I don't know. I don't have any ins and outs on what they're doing.
And if I know the way things usually go, it'll change as it goes along, and more people start using it. They'll probably be making changes on the fly like they did with Hangouts back in the early days too. So, but anyway, we'll hack away at it and keep the show going. And I'd hate to lose the show. This is a great way to keep control liners all over the world together. And
turn your camera down. All I can see is from your nose up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, now I can.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I was sitting.
There you go.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better. All was with your nose up to the top of your head.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I got. Sometimes I like to sit up when I'm working at the keyboard, and then I like to sit back. And there's sometimes not a good compromise between the two.
Yeah.
But man, I tell you what, I'm happy to be back because I think I'm going to have a much easier recovery this time. No more of that walking around on the walker for 5 months while the hip hooks up. This one's epoxied into place, and well, they call it cemented, and I was able to hit the ground full force right off the bat. And so once the muscles get used to everything and I stabilized, then I'll be on both feet with no assistance. And I think I expect I'm going to be back flying pretty soon. So, yet another rusty comeback story. But hey, if I didn't keep trying, it'd never happen. So
speaking of medical miracles, the week before the Nats, I split my thumb wide open. Did you know about that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I ripped the top of my thumb off. And if you look now, after I super glued it back on, it's in perfect shape. Almost perfect.
Well, that it was made for medical purposes anyway. So, hello, Charles.
Hey, what's up, you guys?
Just us. We hadn't seen you in a long time.
I know. I was excited when I saw your announcement about you being back tonight, so I had to check in early.
Rusty's back in the saddle again. Yep.
Yeah,
Yet again. So
can't keep a good man down, you know.
I hope that holds true for longer than usual this time. But yeah, I got a good feeling about this.
We're good, you know. It's with persistence, you know, you'll break through. You know, it's just persistence. So
You got it, boy. I tell you what, they put me next to persistence in the dictionary right now if they want to. I've had to
yeah,
hack at it for a while, but anyway, yeah. So
You go flying since you've been back, Charles?
yeah, I went flying today, and
How does it feel to fly
what?
How does it feel to fly a heavy airplane?
My shoulder hurt.
Light airplanes don't fly in the wind.
I know it's yeah, man, your Junar is fantastic, and coming back flying my Strega, which is heavy. Now the Olympic is not that heavy, but it's probably heavy for its size. You know what I mean? The Olympic does not weigh very much, but it's not a big plane. And but yeah, I know what a good plane feels like, and so I could definitely see the glaring areas that these planes are exhibiting. So yep, I'm trying to trim them out.
we've got a YouTube question from Jack Snavely about using the new video system, and he wants to know if it is necessary for him to join Stunthangar. He's only been a YouTube member all this time. I don't think so. No, Jack. Well, yeah,
Rusty, think through. You have to join Stunthanger to get
that's
the
right.
link.
To get to the link. And once you've got that link, you can bookmark it. And if we ever have to change it, you'll need to be able to get to the new link. But yeah, should be able to leave it the same. And I think they've got pretty good anti-troll uh, controls over there too. So we'll just have to see how it all shakes out. But right now, yeah, you don't have to join Stunthangar. And we got another Treyans here. I'm got people popping in faster than I'm seeing them. So I'm let Trey in it.
A second ago. There's Cheyenne. What's up, man?
There's Trey. And hey, bud,
Hey,
good to see you.
hey, good to see you too. How
There's a
you
picture
feeling?
of you. There's a picture of you I'm going to show later on tonight. It's a good picture of you at Huntersville. I'm going to try to scroll through and show what Will Davis has posted up about the spring events.
Cool. How you feeling?
I feel really good. I had no idea that I was going to be able to bear full weight on this hip the moment it was done. And
Wow.
of course, it hurts because they have to move a lot of muscles and tendons around. But once all that settles down, it should be pretty stable. And I can feel it as today goes on, getting more and more stable. And I can walk away from the walker and come back to it. I don't because it was not smart to do, but I've got that much stability already. They cemented this hip into place, so it doesn't have to go through 5 months of bone growth before it tightens up.
Oh, I see.
And the only problem I came out of the hospital with is that the physical therapist got a little bit overzealous with me, and I've got a blown left shoulder, and I have to pick that arm up and put it where I want it. So that's a problem. But the more rest I get, it seems to be getting better, and I'm used to rehabilitating that shoulder. So once that clears up, I'll be good. My hips are fine, though. That's the important part right now.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. I'm happy
It
for
is
you.
awesome.
I'm so happy for you. I thought you're gonna be out for a month or so.
Yeah, thanks, man. I thought so too. I thought it was going to be worse than that because they kept me from, and I'm letting Kim in while I'm talking here. Where I saw him a minute ago, Winter Sportster. Did he disappear on us? Oh well, I'll get him when he comes back. But yeah, last time it was almost 5 months that I had to bear no weight, just tiptoe, and this time it's not. It's locked and solid, ready to rock and roll.
Wow, interesting. Technology they go through.
Yeah,
That's awesome. Good for you. Good for you. I'm happy that
yeah,
you're
man.
back on your feet.
Boy, it took a lot of It took a lot of tries and work to get there, but here I am. I'm still here.
That's
Oh
awesome.
my, yeah. I feel like the young guy here.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
the
you
baby.
are the young guy here, I think.
I actually am the baby here.
Is anybody? Yeah, nobody's got Trey and beat. I think you are the baby here.
You go in any other sport and we are just like the
Yeah,
I mean we probably just dabbled hieroglyphs on us.
yeah.
Those guys are really old.
With
You
my
know,
daughter. With my
I
daughter.
tell people, I've had to tell a lot of people, especially physical therapy people. Oh, here comes Kim again. I've had to tell them what I do to help them know how to rehabilitate me. And so explaining control and what it is over and over and over again gets tedious. I don't mind because I love it, but it's amazing who has never heard a control line before.
Yeah.
Is that like clothesline?
What about clothesline?
Is that what that is? Is it like clothesline?
Yeah, it's like clothesline. Yeah, we got 70 feet of rope that we fly our planes on. Steel rope.
Yeah, we fly with string. You still flying with string, Charles?
Did
Yeah.
you see my rant on the FAA? It's on the YouTube channel about
I haven't seen it.
standing in the back of the pickup truck with a control line around your head so I could fly into a building.
Yeah, it's funny. I laughed out loud at that. And my dad used to give me those for Christmas just about every year when I was little. Hey, Kimby, what's happening?
Hey, Iron Man, how are you?
Oh, pretty good, pretty good. I hope it's
Good.
not iron. I don't want to start rusting. You know, I wouldn't want to be
Well-
all rusty or anything.
Okay, you want what? Tungsten or cadmium or
We'll go with titanium.
titanium?
Yeah.
I was trying to get there, I couldn't think of it.
Yeah, titanium alloy of some sort. And I'll have to look it
Good
up
deal.
and get the details on what kind of metals are mixed in there. But amazing stuff.
Yep, you and the SR-71.
Yeah. Only I don't leak.
Oh,
I
do
actually
sometimes.
do, but control leaks.
Not so as you know it. If I
It's
had
good
some
to see you.
astronaut diapers, you know, I might have to put them to some covert use.
Hey Charles, it was good to see you at the Nats, man.
I know it was really good seeing you too, man. It was kind of like a family reunion, you know.
I was not able to keep up with it, so I hope y'all can entertain me with what all went on this week.
Oh,
Well, when I first get there, I see either Tom Greasy or Mike Lonke. You know, it's like we talk on the forum, and then we finally see each other, and their first response is, "I thought you was taller."
Everybody thinks you're a Hulk. Yeah.
Yeah, they all think I'm taller. I mean, I'm only 5'5", and so Mike gives me a big bear hug. You know, and he's like, "Man, I thought you was tall. I can't believe you're that short." I said, "I told you I was short."
Yeah.
I saw Steve Hines. Steve Hines is, I think Steve. I don't
He's
think
over 6 feet.
he might be an inch taller than me, not by much.
Oh, is that all? Really? So,
Yeah, I think he might be 5'6" and I'm 5'5",
yeah.
but then I outweigh him quite a bit also. And
so
then
did Samantha, speaking of Steve, did Samantha make a showing?
yeah, I
Yes.
saw her, but I didn't see her fly. But I guess she left.
Samantha made it to the to the Saturday show basically when she was flying with the juniors and the seniors and the in a Walker fly off thing, right? So she flew over there and they came in on Friday. So Friday after the competition was over, they kind of showed up and I put my plane out and I let Sammy fly it. Because Steve was always saying, remember, like in the past sessions that we had, Steve was saying about her flying uh, a plane that pulls too hard in the wind.
Right.
So it was a little breezy that day, but nothing to write home about. And I let Sammy fly it, and she flew it, and Danny
How'd she like
Banjak, yeah. Then what?
How'd she like it?
Oh, she loved it. Actually, she loved it. Danny Banjak flew it too, and Danny had quite a smile on his face all the flight.
Did Danny not fly it in Huntersville? Oh, he wasn't there, was he? That's right.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, yeah. And then one of Jose Modesto's buddies, he flew it too. Tried to
Oh wow.
have some fun on it, in a wind. So it's kind of funny to see him evolving, right? Just doing a loop, flying outside inverted, then doing outside loop, and then start tidying things up, and just do eight after square eight, and then do hourglass after hourglass in a wind, and try to really hit it hard. And the plane was just basically, is that all you got? It's kind of funny.
Same thing just goes where I pointed.
Yeah,
Exactly
I would have
that.
loved to have flown it. Too bad we didn't leave Friday, but I would have loved to had a chance to fly it.
Gerald
Yeah.
just checked in with a super chat donation. Thank you, Gerald. And here comes Steve Hines. Let me let the Stevie in.
Oh,
And there we go. Hey, Steve, how you doing tonight?
Hey guys, I thought we weren't doing Google anymore.
Well, it's not August 1st yet.
Oh, okay.
We'll see what happens next week.
yeah.
Thanks,
Looks like
guys.
we'll have hangouts just like this coming Monday, but after that, well, I just have to see what happens. But Sparky's pretty confident that we got it going, and so we'll have a show. Just the only thing is, we might have to improvise a way to get the YouTubers in here live with us, and we'll do the best we can with that for you guys, because y'all bring a lot of people. I mean, there's a lot of YouTubers that are going to be left out if we can't find some way to get you. Jackson Evely just hit us with a super chat donation too. Thank you, Jack. Appreciate that.
What we might do is put the link in, do an announcement on YouTube and put the link to the other place in that video.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just
So-
because everybody, is used to getting the announcement via
Yeah.
YouTube.
And I guarantee you there's lots of other Hangout people that are having the same questions. And so we'll maybe can follow somebody else's lead if they come up with a better idea than we got.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I tell you what I can do. I can go over to YouTube Model Builders and talk to those guys, because they're the ones that got me started on Hangouts, and see what they're going to do.
Oh, okay.
So, Steve, I think it's better to come from you. The question was like, how did Sammy like the revolutions?
Oh, she loved it. She wants one. So yeah, she was really impressed with how it stayed out on the lines without pulling like a tank.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody always assumes you got to have a 10-pound pull to keep it out there, but not so.
Oh, she flew, what was it, about 12 mile an hour
Rusty.
when she flew there?
Here
Trying.
comes
What?
that Gerald Wimmer in. He's out there with us.
What was the
Showing
question, Steve?
broadcast. Okay, our New Zealand representatives are supposed to be in. Hang on, it's looking up. There we go. Got you, Gerald.
Good to see you back.
Yeah, man, it is good to be back too.
Hey, Gerald.
And Gary
Hey,
Sinclair sends me well wishes. Hi, Rusty. How are you doing? Well, Gary, I'm doing excellent. That's it in a nutshell. Can't get any better than this.
Good.
Yeah, I don't know what was it, about 12 mile an hour winds?
Somewhere over there or more. 12 to 15, somewhere over there.
You know,
How many of you guys carry little pocket anemometers? And how accurate are those either? So that shows you what it's doing on the ground. It doesn't show you what it's doing up top.
Yeah, the windsock was almost straight out, so I'm not sure if it was a 15-mile-an-hour windsock or 20-mile-an-hour.
Did y'all still have that same stand of corn growing over on the edge of one of the fields?
No, they had no corn. Nothing was growing this year because of all the water. They couldn't get nothing in.
Well, that was probably better. It was because you were getting some roll off from the tops of the corn crop last year, from what I remember.
But the window's blowing from the, you know, the from south to north.
Is that the other side?
So
Gotcha, Sparky.
All right, thanks.
Yeah. So, Steve, take over.
No, so she was saying that in the wind, it didn't pull as hard as her vector. But she said that the whole time she was waiting to start running because that's what she normally has to do. That plane that ain't pulling super hard like that in the wind. And she said that she never lost tension, but she's never flown an airplane that was that easy in the wind, but didn't do anything wrong. So she was real impressed with that.
Yeah.
I mean, in the finals there on, for the Walker Cup, she flew, and it was, I'd say it's probably at least 15, 16 for that. It was pretty heavy wind. But she went into her hourglass and lost that thing. And how in the hell she saved it? She flew about a 45 behind her head and brought it out. It looked like an hourglass, but it was one monster hourglass.
Yeah. Yeah. Who was, Danny Banjak, I think flew before Sammy or after Sammy, but there was another guy that flew after Danny Banjak, but I don't know who that was.
That's the guy who's doing the model aviation letter and stuff, or took over for Bob Hunt.
Ah.
I can't think of his name now.
Dave?
What was it?
Dave?
What's his last name?
Short guy?
No, big guy. I think maybe it was the guy that his two sons fly there, or his one son flew. What the hell?
Joe Daly.
Yeah, Joe Daly.
Yeah.
That's who it was. Flew it.
Yeah, he had a bit of a poker face, so he was flying my plane and just like doing hourglass after hourglass back to back, just nailing it. And so he was going hard on it. I mean, you could see the plane just turning super hard, tracking straight, super hard on the top, hard again. And he was moving it from the left to the right, kind of different parts of the, of the downwind position. And just it was nothing, just the plane just so. He kind of had like a bit of a poker face, but Jose Modesto, who is his buddy and stuff like that, he said he made a comment after that next day when I met him. He said I gave him a lot to think about, and he said he liked the plane and he doesn't like anything. So to me, that was a compliment,
Yeah,
well, I think a lot of it, that's like Sparky's plane that Charles flew. When I see, when the wind changed on him there at Brodak and he could fly it against the wind or whatever, being light and stuff like really helps a lot.
Yeah, I mean, just if you have the power plant to pull the plane through the wind and penetrate the wind and maintain speed, you should be, somewhat okay. If you look at our lap times versus the line length and stuff like that, we are pulling about 2.7 Gs, level flight. So it's a lot of line tension over there just from like doing our normal lap time.
What speed were the lap times they were flying?
Me?
Well, in general, the guys that were flying the Revolutions, what were they flying?
What, 5.5?
I was flying 5.5 in a wind. And
yeah, he turned it down slow. I mean, that's what Samantha was like. Oh my God, it was going slow and made it through that wind.
So, yeah, sounds like she could have drank a cup of coffee with one hand and flown the plane with the others. So.
Well, that's what Banjock said too. I told him, if he wants to build one or what, because the builder of the model, that he could come stay with me here for free, and we go over there and work on it. So he would, if he wants to do something like that, yeah, because he really liked the airplane too.
Yeah, I haven't had one person that flew the plane and said that I don't like it. It hasn't happened yet, but you can find somebody. The thing is that at the Nats, I was in a position to put some practice flights on it and fine tune it a little bit before the actual competition started, and I changed the lead out position a little bit. I fine tuned the bias on my handle so I get equal turn up inside and outside. And then I dial in a little bit more elevator throw to tighten up the corner a little bit. And what I noticed after that, I never flew it in those winds that before that. So when the wind started to howl, I started to just get a feel for it, right? And it was just perfect everywhere. It's like was not pulling, was not overwhelming, was not any of that stuff, So and I think it happens because of the uh, lateral center of pressure on the plane, because it has a much longer tail by at least 3 inches or so. Plus, you have the rudder that extends behind the elevator quite a bit. So you have a lot of the center of pressure lateral is behind the wing quite a bit. So good night, Sparky.
Good night, Sparky.
So what happens when I fly and the wind is in my face? It pushes back on the rudder, so it noses the plane outwards. So it gives me a little bit extra line tension, but because the wind is pushing back on that extra line tension, it almost evens it out. So you feel some decrease in line tension upwind, but it's not to the point like you have an RC plane flying or something like that at the end of the lines. And when you fly the plane downwind, it pushes the tail out, which noses the plane inwards at that point. So because the wind wants to push the plane away from you, it gives you a lot of extra line tension because it pushes on the back of the plane and noses the plane back in. The line tension feels almost kind of even, but it's nothing overwhelming. Like for example, when I was flying the SVs in the past, when the wind was flying and you do a loop and you feel that pull on you, just really pulling hard on you at the bottom, right? As it comes in and just you feel that excessive line tension pull, but it never happened. It's just like I think if I had a little bit better motor control to slow it down a little bit, because the 2-4 brake was too strong with it.
Yeah.
It tended to whip up just a little bit, right? But I think I had too much of that. I think I was running sensitivity about 65 or so at the time, which broadens gives you more upper RPM and lower RPM, dancing around your target. So because of that harder upper, and it's like I think if I would just taming it a little bit, it would be far better. And another thing that I've noticed in the wind, it's it even though you fly it slow, it doesn't slow down because the thin airfoil on it cuts through the wind like it's nothing. So it just turns, cuts, and penetrates through the wind, and the wind is not slowing it down or anything like that. So you can just do an hourglass and just pull it over. Just the plane is going to continue, almost like and it feels like at 15, 12 to 15 that we flew into. it feels like you're flying in 7-8 miles per hour winds, if that. You know, so
Yeah,
so
Samantha could hardly. Well, she said that at the end of the flight there on Saturday that she was wondering if her hand was going to hold out to make it through the hourglass. And she said she did, but
mhm,
with her plane, it was just killing her. It was
yeah,
pulling so hard in that wind that
mhm,
she, especially that last loop, that when that thing wound up so hard,
yeah,
come up. She said, she goes, I thought I was going to pull the hand, the handle right out of my hand.
yeah.
But
So yeah. I think from after I'm flying this plane now, and I really just after the Nats, I really fell in love with it this time around. But it's obviously it's my baby, and stuff like that. But it's it's so good. It is so good that just like you have to try it, right?
You got a really well thought out combination between the wing thickness, airfoil, and the nose and tail movements. It sounds like it all really came together on that plane.
Yeah, it's like the only thing that I would like to have different on a plane right now is maybe move the CG forward a little bit, maybe anything between quarter of an inch and half an inch more forward. But keep in mind that my CG right now it's at 3 inches and 7/8 back from the leading edge,
okay.
which is way back there. And even with this 3 inches and 7/8, I think Mark McKinney has the 3 inches and 3/4 somewhere over there. Even with this CG so far back, is that um, the thing is that the plane is still pretty stable because after Mark had an accident with his plane, he was doing an outside loop. It came down and it hit the ground, inverted. Um, it hit the rudder, put some scratches on the top of the canopy, and top of the nose, broke the prop loose, and the plane came around. It completed like half a loop like that. The motor vibrated so much with like probably half of the propeller still or a knob left in there that the glue joint that was holding the the nose ring in position and the motor uh, it let loose. So now the motor just shot out from the front of the plane, and with the spinner and the prop, and it disconnecting all three connections from the ESC. So it just shoot out of the nose of the plane and landed in the grass. So imagine, so at this point you're missing a motor, which is about 200 grams or so, a spinner. So you're close to 9 ounces worth of nose weight right in the front of the plane. So you're missing some of the propeller, you're missing some of the whole motor, you're missing the nose ring, and you're missing the spinner as well. So all of that kind of adds up to, I don't know, at least 200. And I know my spinner is about 34 grams or so, right? So 205 plus 34 is 240 grams or so, right? Which is pretty close to, what's that, 9 ounces or so?
Yeah.
So he's missing 9 ounces of the nose, puts the plane in a shallow dive, flattens the approach, and letting the plane just normally with no issues, missing 9 ounces worth of nose weight. So even though the CG sounds like it's kind of aft, it's plenty safe. I mean, if the plane can still fly with 9 ounces of the nose missing, that's pretty good. So
I'm failing on my moderator duties. I hadn't spoken to Dennis Adamison since he came in here, but he's quietly, patiently watching us. How you doing, Dennis?
I'm doing just fine, just enjoying the Trian story there. So,
hey, Dennis.
top
Yeah,
of the morning to you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you were already gone by the time that we got there to the Nats.
Hmm.
What day did you leave?
I'm sorry?
What day did you leave, Dennis?
What made me leave?
What day did you leave?
He wasn't even there.
I wasn't there at all.
Oh, I thought you went and.
I was supposed to go, and then I had some conflicts happen. See, we were out of town. I had to bail out on judging on Sunday because we had a trip pop up where we went to visit my son in Wisconsin. And then on Tuesday, we were I was babysitting for my grandkids. Let's see, it was Thursday. I got a new granddaughter out of the bargain. But that's last week's news. So
Congratulations.
yeah, that's it. I guess I'm catching up with Doc Holliday now. That's five grandkids. But at any rate, best laid plans and all that. I had really hoped to fly on Classic and Old Time Day at least, and at least visit a little bit and see some of the really good airplanes like Triens and stuff like that. And didn't get to do any of that. So oh well, life goes on.
You gonna make the FMC?
I'm still trying to make it to Bobby's contest, the Signal Seekers contest, and then also the FCM contest.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I missed my vacation too this week.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm hearing something that sounds like a freight train coming through here.
I keep
Am I the
hearing
only one?
chatter, like voices in the background, but I don't hear the freight train sound.
Yeah, it's kind of a beat. I've got the YouTube. Yeah.
I think it's just co-channeling going on.
Oh, I bet I know what it's at. Okay, no, that's not it.
It could be somebody's window fan or something like that.
That might. I have a box fan in my garage.
It's kind of a beating thing. It kind of comes in and goes away. Either that, or maybe there's a tornado going to eat me up here.
Yeah, that must be it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. It sounds like a freight train, right? So yeah, there it comes again. It's kind of a loud beating.
I don't hear anything.
I'm not hearing what you're describing at all.
Yeah.
Oh well.
It's
Remember, I'm the deaf guy. I'm the deaf guy too, so if I'm hearing it, could be hearing almost anything.
Could
So
be you're hallucinating. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's your
voices in the background that
yeah.
are coming from who knows where, but I'm not even going to try to chase them down. I have no idea where it's from.
Yeah.
Bob Bishop on YouTube asks, has anybody ever seen a photo of a real plane that lost the prop blade? Not many of them make it back. So we were talking about Trey and front end coming loose, but
hey Charles,
it was actually not mine.
Lower your bandwidth. I think it's yours that's doing it because I see green lights keep popping up on your screen when you're not saying nothing.
Want me to lower my bandwidth?
Yeah.
Let me try that.
If that doesn't work, I'll
right now it's on low. I have mine on low.
What did you?
Maybe I'll increase it. See if that makes any difference. Well, I can't get any better.
I can't promise anything makes sense. Let me lower your volume a little. Say something now, Charles.
Say something now?
Yeah, that's too low.
That's too low?
No, I got it back to middle, and it was too low when I turned you down.
So anyways, that was Mark's plane that did it. So that was the number 2, the sister plane, right?
Yeah.
And we went to the hotel. We spent about an hour on it, and we repaired everything. Next day, he was flying back. He was back in business, flying like as if nothing happened. We had a little bit of. I think if it was any other plane, it would not fare that good. No way. So yeah. What we did at the hotel, we used some thin CA. Just take you take a needle and put some pinholes wherever the carbon is just delaminates from the foam, and you pour some thin CA through there. Take a paper towel and just rub it in like that, and then when it kicks off, it's the lamination is back, it's complete, as good as new, if not
Good.
better. And we had a little crushed area over there. I didn't have any foam with me because usually you just put another piece of foam in there, you sand it off to the proper size, and patch it on top of it with some carbon fiber and stuff like that. So I took his. He had a piece of balsa wood with him, so I put a piece of balsa wood in there, fitted it nicely. We sand it off and put some a little piece of 1 inch wide extreme over there on the top of the rudder, so it looks good again and stuff like that. He flew the rest of the contest with no problems after that. I mean, just like the take apart system took a beating. The outboard wing had a little scratch on top of it, but other than scratches and obviously the rudder took a beating,
Yeah.
and was crushed a little bit. I mean, just damaged the about 3/4 of an inch on the top of it. Other than that, there was no damage. It's nothing.
Good.
And he flew it just without issues after that. So yeah, I had to take a beating, and they will keep flying after that. Then they're easy to fix too. Just those repairs are quite common in a glider world when they hit something.
What did Alexander do the whole time you were away?
Home, daycare, stuff like
Video
that.
games.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, I'm missing a timer right now. I need a timer for his plane because something happened to that Fiorati timer that I had on it.
Yeah.
But actually, I was using the Fiorati just because I want to test it out. I want to try it out and see how it runs, how it works, right? So since I was making his plane and I was the only available timer I had, and I said I might as well just put it on a plane and just fly like that. But Steve is helping me out, and he was nice.
I got a question for Dennis on the timer. Are all the Hubron timers the same? The ones with the pots over the one you use a little box, they'll still maintain constant.
The timers that Brodax sells are all pre-programmed, so you can't reprogram with an FM9 time box. But you know that because they don't even have the right connection on it. Right. Of course, all the FM9 timers have the extra, a 9-pin connector on them for programming. But the ones that Brodax sells, the regular timers or the regular 3-pin timers, those are all pre-programmed to work with like a Castle Phoenix and High Gov, or a Castle Phoenix and Set RPM, or the Hornet, in the High Gov Hornet or something like that.
I'll be right. I'll go get that timer. Make sure it's the right one before I send it off to you.
Yeah, please forgive me for eating Fruit Loops while I'm talking. I forgot to eat supper before I started the show.
And Fruit Loops is your supper.
It is tonight. When I get through with the show, I'll go eat a couple of.
I'm just shaking my head here.
Biscuits.
That's
Fruit
it.
Loops.
You ought to have something healthy.
Okay, Cam, you ain't got enough gas to hang with us tonight? Okay, I can certainly understand that. Well, thanks for dropping in, buddy.
Why don't you hang around a little bit? We'll see if you could fall asleep the way Lenny does, or something like that.
And,
yeah, that
as
is
long as you're still
entertaining.
here, Cam, I'd like to thank you and all of the other CEF guys, Cox Engine Foreman guys, for all of the well wishes and good lucks that y'all sent me on the forum over there. I really appreciate that. There was too many of them for me to respond individually, so I just had a blanket thanks. But man, I love to have you guys. You guys are thinking about me. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
You too.
All right.
Good night.
Do something fun so you can come back Monday and tell us about it. Sometimes fun just erupts. You never know when it's going to happen.
Okay.
All right. See you later.
All right, take care.
Take care.
So a big thing that I took from the Nats is that I need a coach to show me what the heck I'm doing wrong when I'm flying, because something is definitely not right. And uh, from what I saw, especially in the top five, it seems like the judges reward smooth flying rather than hard corners,
Mhm.
and that doesn't make any sense to me, because putting the shape into proper position with a hard corner, it's a heck of a lot harder than a
It sure is.
baby corner, right?
Yeah.
Plus, the rule book says, sharp corner should be rewarded, but I didn't see that happening anyways.
Who you think might be nearby that would make a good coach for you? See, Mike Waldron's all the way down in Florida, so
Yeah,
that's probably not the guy. Randy Smith, he probably doesn't have time to, but
yeah,
mm,
yeah. So I'm kind of on my own here. Um, but I was just thinking as I was coming back from the Nats, because the group in Illinois around Chicago, they have two clubs in Chicago actually. One that meets in the in Schaumburg area, and another one that meets at Aurora Airport. And I'm thinking about, man, Atlanta, it's a big place, and I know we have a bunch of flyers here,
they
but
ought to.
yet we have no, have a place where you meet, and just fly
Yeah,
together on Saturday morning or something like that, and just set a time and a place, just
yeah.
go there.
I'm surprised. I would think Atlanta would be a hotbed of control liners just due to population alone.
Well, I'm not sure of that, but I know at least a few guys that fly control line here. So we're gonna have a contest coming up this coming weekend, and I talked to Tom Dixon, and maybe we'll put an announcement out there and get something started. Because if you
Mhm.
do that, you can help one another, and you can try different stuff. So they may coach you, whatever. But it's more fun to fly with someone else than going by
Absolutely, it is.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Trian, I did want to comment on something you said before about sharp corners and everything like that. And you could take this at face value.
Yeah.
The event is precision aerobatics. PA could also be called, you could also think of it as performance art. All
Hmm.
right. I compare it very much to the old figure skating, where they used to
Hmm.
have things like the school figures where they were measured on a precision,
Hmm.
whether they are on the correct edge of their skate and everything like that, drawing perfect circles in the ice and
Mhm.
things like that. And that's one element of it, is the technical perfection, and that's where things like the hard corners and stuff like that come in.
The
But the other part of it is they had entire programs that were devoted to arts. They were the programs had certain technical difficulty and everything like that, but there was an artistic expression in there,
Hmm.
and I think it's you can I think you can fall down a rabbit hole if you focus too much on either being too smooth and too artsy, or you let the corners go bad, or if you can do the opposite thing and focus on just all the sharpest, hardest corners you can get, and then it possibly looks harsh and it isn't very pretty to watch.
yeah.
And
Hmm.
so it's good to emphasize tight corners, and really to emphasize smooth flats on the sides of your squares and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But don't lose sight of the fact that this is an artistic endeavor also.
Hmm.
All right, and
Yeah.
so uh, you need to do that too. And just
Yeah.
to put that in perspective, this year
Hmm.
the airplane I've been flying for the last couple of years now, and it flies very well, performs well, but I've actually been adding nose weight to it, and I narrowed down the handle spacing
Hmm.
because I can fly the thing in a much, for lack of a better word, I can fly a much prettier looking pattern with
Yeah.
it. It does a nice corner, still does a nice corner,
Hmm.
to put it up compared to anybody. But the thing is that when it comes out of that corner, it's looking smooth. It's pointing the right direction. It holds the line coming out and everything like that. And those, and plus on top of everything else, it's just physically easier for me to do it. So don't lose sight of what you're doing, but remember the other element, the artistic element. I've never seen you fly, all right? But remember that there's an artistic element to this, and the people who fly well are pleasant to watch. You know, and there are people who there's other people who fly patterns that look like they're, you know, like they have a high technical merit, but they're not necessarily something you want to watch all the time because they're harsh. All right, so just try to draw the balance there between the two if you can.
Yeah.
And that's tonight's coaching segment, I guess. I don't know how else to put
The
it.
Olympic ice skaters used to be required to do a compulsory pattern, and it was shapes a lot like the shapes that we fly, figure eights, and the intersections had to be exact, had to be on the exact side of the blade. And then the past 2 or 4 maybe Olympic series is they've removed that from the requirements. So.
Yeah, and it was, I don't know why they did that. You know, they've gone the whole artistic thing. But and then of course I guess they're judging the technical merits and a number of, you know, jumps and triple spins and whatever else, and spins and sock dolls and toe loops and whatever else. You know, I don't know.
Well, what it was is that there was people that couldn't win with the compulsories. That's how they lost every time, because they weren't. You know,
well, there were skaters who would do spectacular, I guess, you know, compulsory figures, and they would build a big lead, and they would then they, you know, and they you had to do exceptionally well in the artistic portion just to overcome their lead, and you often couldn't do that. So
yeah.
Hey, Jeff Riley just joined us. Good evening, Jeff.
Hey, Rusty.
yeah.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Jeff.
How you doing? How's everybody out there?
Everything's as it's gonna get. Everything's great.
Yeah.
You know, Tryon, as far as that, are you married, Tryon?
Yeah.
There's a guy out here in the West Coast, and he talked his wife into joining him out there at the flying circle, and they went over the rule book. And I don't know how long you've been married, but I've been married for 22 years, and my wife's very good at calling me on things I didn't do right. And so wives make excellent coaches if your wife is interested.
Yeah.
Since his wife's been coaching him, I mean, he's been winning or second quite a bit. I mean, it's a dramatic change from just having his wife. He taught his wife to do a book of what he wants to do, and she's looking for the things. Even like myself, I know all the things I do wrong. I know most of them anyways. And you can tell your wife, look for this. This is one of my tendencies, and just keep nailing me on that, you know. And this guy's scores have gone up. So you might want to consider that. I can't find a coach either. My wife is disabled. Or I would enlist my wife, because you know who wants us to win more than anybody else is our wives.
Well, of course they want to see us succeed. Do you use a sheet? Does she use a sheet and mark up what you're doing? That really helps. You know what I mean?
My wife's not coaching me. I wish she could. She's disabled. But this other guy out there, his wife is coaching him. I don't know if they're using the sheet or not.
Yeah, I find that's a really, you know, even when you're flying with experienced people, it really helps you remember, and it's easier when you mark it down on a sheet. And then when I'm flying with Wes and we're working that way, we'll actually use like multiple color pens and stuff and mark on the same sheet, flight to flight, and hey, you did that again, or hey, you made a new mistake this time, or something like that. And we find that it's easier to do that. You know, and if you have, say, an inexperienced coach, it's like, okay, this is supposed to look square, and it's easier for them to say, well, gee, that didn't look square. It was, you know, this angle was off, or this was too wide, or something like that. And sometimes that can help, but that I think having those cheat sheets or markup sheets or whatever you want to call them, I think that could be a nice aid, for your coach, and it also gives you something to study and look for trends and stuff like that. So
Yeah. Well,
That sheet that's on the PAPA website, that critique sheet, is that what you're talking about, Dennis? Are you talking about the sheet?
Yeah, I don't know. They've any number of names on it, but it's basically all of the maneuvers are drawn on a sheet, and you can just mark next to them. Yeah, your coach can say what you did wrong and stuff. It's really a big aid for things like shapes and stuff like that. But then they can start, as they start using them, they can start seeing, well, gee, that was high, or the first time was high, the second time was in a different spot, or this line wasn't vertical, it went off at an angle, or things like that. And frankly, when I'm marking those kind of things up, I don't even usually make many comments about things like bobbled bottoms and stuff like that, because those are so random, or can be random, that to me, I'm more worried about things like tendencies and repeat errors and stuff like my buddy Wes is always making his outside. If he does like a round 8 or a square 8, his outside is always small, and especially if he's off the wind a little bit, or if the airplane starts accelerating or something like that, he always hurries through the outside part of it, and I think gets himself into some trouble and stuff like that. But when you spot trends and tendencies, that's something that can really help you out, because especially if we practice by ourselves or without a watch or something like that, you practice a lot of the same errors until they become habits, and the habits are just they're just a killer to break.
Yeah.
You start doing things so that it becomes so ingrained in your muscle memory, it's hard to get rid of it. So
Right. Yeah. Practice makes permanent.
Yeah.
Does that.
People were telling Samantha that she was flying her level laps too low.
Mhm.
And I'm like, no, they're not too low.
I
Yeah,
thought she
mark
was
out
like
the world.
3 footish or so, 3 to
Huh?
4. She was pretty low. Yeah.
But she wasn't. What it was is a lot of times she was cutting through these guys' chests out there, the judges.
Yeah, she's right on the 4-foot line, or just slightly below it, 3.5 to 4. She was over there almost all the time, and I noticed that too. So yeah.
But what it is that if you look where she's flying through these guys' chest,
Mm-hmm.
from their chest to their head, these guys are over 6 foot tall. If you had a real short person out there, it would have been low.
Mm-hmm.
But flying right through their chest, it couldn't been below 5 feet.
Okay.
If I'd have stood out there next to him, she'd have been flying at my head. And then I'd be like, man, you're right up the top of the.
Are you saying that you need to wear some platform shoes or something like that when you're helping her fly?
Because it's like I always tell Samantha, fly right in front of your eyes. And right in front of her eyes, we figure is about 4'9".
Mm-hmm.
And she's only 5'2".
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's 4'10", somewhere in there between her top of her head and her eyeballs. So if she flies right in front of her eyes, but my thinking is that it's like when we were in France and they had the placards up there. Most people fly high.
Yeah.
They don't. She's not flying low. It's that everyone else is flying high. Same with that Japanese guy. It's like, oh my God, he flies below 4 feet. But when we were there at the World Championships and them cards were sitting there, he was about right under the 5 foot mark all the time. He never went below 4 feet. It's just that no one else flies low enough. I really don't.
Okay. I want to say something about the previous comments. Yes, it's nice to have your wife out to help you out with your parent and stuff like that, but in my case, it's barely tolerated. So that idea is kind of out of the question.
I understand.
Then I'm listening to you, Dennis, but somehow I'm just being confused a little bit. The pattern is yeah, Rusty is falling asleep on us here.
Um, I'm reading that
Hey, now wait a minute.
on
He's
YouTube.
doing
We put the host to sleep. That's going to be a pretty good challenge here, guys.
we
I
can do
had to
anything.
take a
We
YouTube
can,
break. I got a whole stack of messages I've deleted.
Oh,
you know, they say
alrighty.
when the cat is not home, you know, the mice are dancing on the table.
That's right.
So good. Anyways, so I was in general back to the subject. The pattern as it is, it's not a smooth thing. It's quite violent. Is nothing smooth about it other than the loops, and not even there, because the entrance to the loop, you start like from horizontal and you are instantly into a loop. So in those, and especially when you change direction from the inside to the outside, is so fast. The transition has to be so fast, yet flowing from one to the other. It's I don't know how to express this, you know. This is one thing I don't understand, but yeah, I was watching, for example, I was watching Paul Walker and Orestes, how, you know, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they drive in deep, they go down deep, and then turn in the very last split second, and they put the maneuvers on top of each other and stuff like that. And I'm just like, this is a sharp looking pattern, right? It's for sure he's gonna win. And then when you look at the final scores, it goes like, and you go like, what the heck happened there? Because
Mm-hmm.
I know when I'm flying, I can do baby corners all day long and just hit those bottoms, stuff like that. Right? It's easy, right? But to try to go deep and put a nice tight corner and just exit on the other side, nice and clean, and you know, and track after that, it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
super hard. So I don't
Well,
see why it's not be rewarded. But it seems like is this notion of you have to be something that's violent.
it the when it's turning the corner itself, seems violent, but it has to look like it's effortless. The
Mhm.
airplane just changed directions, and it shouldn't look like it's violent. It shouldn't look like the airplane is
Yeah.
jumping. It should look like it just
And
changed directions.
the intersection between two round loops is infinitesimally small too. I mean,
That is the toughest. That may be one of the most underrated, tough parts of the pattern of flies. When you do a round 8, to go from the inside round to the instantaneous change to the outside round at exactly the right place, with no visible
a
flat
lot of
spot, without
intermediate guys
Xing
will
through or
fly a
anything like
straight
that.
line just as if to say, "Look, I got an intersection," you know, and then another straight line up, and then curve back. And I used to do that too, but
Yeah. You see people either overemphasize the flat spot, or they come through and they do like an X through the center.
yeah,
And
it's awful.
and it a well done round loop is far harder to do than a square loop. Square loops are just bang, 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 bang,
Yeah,
and it's over.
they
And
do have
a really good
vertical
round
intersection
loop
with square
that's
loop.
perfectly shaped and continuous
Yeah,
it's extremely hard to do extremely well. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And we all. I mean, you even take a look at the articles, construction articles written into the 1950s, and everybody talks about how great their airplanes corner and everything like that, but nobody ever talks about how about flying, smooth round maneuvers and continuity.
yeah.
Is the word I really like to use when I see a
I
pattern. And
mean,
I'm thinking back to
you
somebody
got to
like,
take a compass
I'm
on a
sorry.
piece of paper and put two circles side by side that just tick each other for the, like I said, an infinitesimally small amount of time, and that's all it is.
But I think, one concept I use now, and I used to like watching Les McDonald because he was extremely good at this. Is his pattern had a real strong continuous element to it. I just called it continuity. It's like even if he made if he had some, a fuzzy corner or something like that, the airplane never actually looked. It didn't dwell on it. He just kept flying, and it was a smoothness factor. While he was doing technically good maneuvers, but he was doing them very smoothly in a way that looked like they were continuous, and there wasn't anything staggering around or anything like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a tough kind. I guess I'm not doing a very good job of explaining it, but Gene, I guess just watch the pattern, watch people fly, and I think you'll be able to see it. You'll be able to see it on a lot of times. Watch some of not so much the intermediate, but maybe the advanced flyers. A lot of them are trying hard to make hard corners and stuff, and they fall short. And others are obviously trying hard to do good bottoms, and you can see where they're cheating on those too. And but when you see it all come together, when you see the tight corner, that isn't really a hard corner. It doesn't, it looks like the airplane just changed direction, but it did it effortlessly, and it came out at that correct altitude every single time, the same altitude as the level flight was at, and upright and inverted. Those you can see the artistic elements coming through in somebody who's really flying well. And you can sometimes see when the people who are really emphasizing corners and stuff like that are not delivering a total smooth presentation. It's not about maneuvers, it's a total presentation in that too. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
there's nothing smooth about putting corners in it. It's nothing smooth. Corners are not smooth. Corners are violent, actually. But
Excellent corners are
when you say
smooth.
smooth in a corner, what do you talk about? The entering nice and straight and exit nice and clean?
Exactly. And it comes through, and the airplane looks like it's changed directions, but you didn't actually really even see it turn. You didn't see it jump. You didn't see it. You just saw the thing just come through at night. Nice and clean and continuous.
Because I thought I have this. I mean, it's like the ability of my plane to turn and lock after the turn. It's just unbelievable. And sometimes I kind of lost my head one time, and I was overturning the plane. I was holding the control too long, right? And I would come like this, boom, the plane would turn, overturn, and just climb, right? Instead of coming out clean and level, right?
Right.
And I realized that I was just a little bit too hard on it, and I mean, just like but I can fly a nice clean square, but I think I know what my problem was at the Nats in particular is that because I lack coaching, I don't know where my 45 is. And I bet you most of my maneuvers were at 40 or below. Because I can do that, I can do that all day long, and I don't realize that I'm doing it wrong. But maybe the good part is that because all of this time I was building, I was not doing a whole lot of flying and a whole lot of practicing, right? I don't have a flying style or a something that I can say, yeah, I own this. Now I'm practicing this way every time, and I know what adjustments I need to do for my normal practicing, right? And I was doing okay in advance. I was putting 520 points on my flights, and
I saw on qualifying day you looked like you were you finished weren't you on top of your group?
I was on top of all groups.
Yeah.
In advance.
And then your first round on finals days it looked like you had a low score, and then
yeah, it's just that was stupid me. That's what I did in the final rounds in the finals. I said, "Oh, I want to try this new stuff." I'm thinking about just doing more of a Ted Thatcher kind of thing, just kind of look at the shape and put the plane on the shape kind of thing, right? So completely move away from my normal flying, right? And it didn't just it was not there because I did something stupid. So I
Well,
left.
that's an aw shucks moment, shall we say?
Well,
Yeah.
it was like with Samantha. I told her the night before we left, practicing is done, and now we're gonna fly. She flew 4 flights. I said, flying the best you can fly him. We're done practicing now. Now fly. And she knew when we got there to the Nats, she wasn't gonna change anything.
Mhm.
No matter how many people came up and told her stuff, be nice and say, yeah, thank you, whatever.
Mhm.
Don't change anything. Your practice is done. Now you got to fly the best you can fly, because if you start thinking about changing shit in a contest, you done lost.
Yes, that's what I did
And
because
it does not work. And she'll
yes,
listen to people and change stuff. And I'm like, no, do not do that. That's for practice when you change it.
yeah, and I can tell that I lack coaching and I lack practice because I'm inconsistent. If I'll be scoring the same thing over and over again, kind of the same scores, then I have some kind of consistency, but I don't have it. I'm just scoring like 15 points difference between flight to flight, which is, maybe a point on each maneuver, but they add up. And on some, I was scoring 505 and then 522 and then 509 and then 522 again. And frankly, sometimes I was looking at some flights and I said the second flight was the first flight was a heck of a lot better than the second one. And the second one scored 22 points higher over my first one. At which point I'm raising my hands up. It's like, what the heck is going on here, right?
Yeah.
Other than, I just cannot conceive it,
Well,
at all.
I wish the judges were perfect and consistent and predictable. They're
And,
not.
and,
The
and
only thing,
yeah,
You know what? Though,
and you have to deal with that.
comes back.
The only thing that you can control, and I'm gonna take words out of Steve's mouth here. The only thing that you can control is you need to be able to say at the end of the flight, I flew the very best that I could, or nah, I made some mistakes, or I flew the best that I could, but it wasn't. There were still holes in it, or something like that, and walk away from it. So
good if the judges were all students of calculus and understood limits when it came to
yeah,
the.
well, that's it. And after saying all of that, I'm not going to say that I'm not going to lie to you and tell you I'm above abusing judges either. So
I meant to ask Sparky if he pissed off any judges this week, but I didn't get around to it.
I'll tell you though,
yeah,
it comes with
Sparky was in my group.
the flow.
yeah,
It's to do with flow again. What
Mhm.
Dennis was talking about, because with Samantha, her second flight, she scored higher than her first flight, and she thought her first flight was better. But I told her overall, with the flow, she was more comfortable. It was a better flight. She made different
Okay.
mistakes in different parts,
Mhm.
but overall, it was a better looking flight because it flowed. It wasn't. It chopped some real hard corners on the squares and stuff like that. That second flight was just it flowed around and it looked better.
Well,
I'm
I'm
going to
gonna, and
refill my
again,
coffee cup. I'll be right back.
all right, I'm gonna borrow something that Steve has told us before, and I know that we've talked about this before. One of the things that where the arts comes in is when you see people who are really flying a good pattern, they're flying the entire flight. They're flying the level laps between the maneuvers. And I know darn well, Steve, I know that you worked with Samantha on that. And that's one of those flow things too, is that every single level lap is leading into a maneuver or following a maneuver, and your total presentation, the flight looks smooth and under control and continuous.
Yeah.
And I know you've talked about coaching Samantha on that, and I think that that's one of the things that has served her well. And Trian, I think I've never seen you fly. I don't know how much you emphasize that, but if you're not emphasizing flying the level laps between the maneuvers. That might be something that you can do even without a coach. You can work on that, making sure that every single lap that you're flying is part of your presentation. All right.
Yeah.
It's part of your total story. So
yeah, got it.
That's like with Samantha when she finished. When we're practicing, I tell her all the time, finish, which means in a square 8, when she comes up, when she hits 45 again, she drops it over and then brings it back down to where she set her level flight at the beginning of the flight. Same thing with rounds. If it comes out of that 8, I know it ends here for scoring, but I told her, fly that out nice and around, back down where you're supposed to be. It flows. It looks better.
yeah, my dad was always one on that. Yeah, my dad was always beating me up to finish the maneuver, and it was like you say, it's not necessarily part of anything that's being judged, but what's being judged subconsciously is the fact is, hey, this person is putting on a nice flight and they're in complete control and they're doing everything that they can to show me a good presentation.
Right. We know where they all end. And that's the same thing with like Samantha's, Clover. You come out of that Clover, we know it ends right here. Fly that up over your head at the judges, turn around and bring that out like normal. They should have been done scoring the maneuver a long time ago. But when they see that look so nice, now they're going to their paper and like, man, that should be a 28, not a 25 or.
Yeah, well, that's it. It's a 28 instead of a 27. I mean, that it can be that close. What the advanced final advance was what 2/3 of a point from first to second place over 2 flights. 2/3 of a point. I know John Parrish. I know Will DeMoro. They're both good flyers and everything like that. And I know, I'm just dying for it to come down to something that close and everything like that. But there it is. What did John Parrish? What could he have done that would have got him basically 1 more point over 2 flights?
Better finish.
Yeah, and John, I think is
got points on him on appearance.
Well, they could have been appearance. It could have been almost anything. But but 2/3 of a point. And I know that we've had team trials come down to. I think the closest was something like a 1/10 of a point. It was the difference between the 3rd place and the 4th place. 3rd place team member and the 4th place guy who didn't make it was like a 1/10 of a point over a 2 flight total. Or with K factors and everything like that, where at least it was 3 or 4 judges per flight and stuff, and it's like, how in the what do you do? That wasn't somebody did a better square 8. That was somebody someplace earned basically a couple of 1/10 of a point someplace along the way, and ended up averaging out to that. So I want every one of those 10s. I want that 2/3 of a point. I want to do whatever I can to get that. Obviously, I want all the big points too, but I want every little benefit of the doubt point I can get. I want it. All right.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna.
Yeah, I cost Samantha a flight because they'll let loose of the airplane after she armed it.
I'm gonna put the link in here. It's one of my flights, when I was flying and practicing, and it's an okay flight, but if you want to take a look at it and then watch it, Gerald saw it too.
But I want, like at our field, I want to get the placards back up. I want to film it. Samantha can see exactly what she's doing.
Exactly. I need that too.
And I think that's a good way to train. Is that new tracing deal? You can go back and watch what you're doing.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I've seen. I think that there's a lot of potential in videotaping and stuff. I've never seen a videotape that looked like the flight that I saw, and I don't. There's so many different things, a camera perspective and stuff like that. I think that is possible, but I don't think it's. I look at a videotape, or don't always. It doesn't always come through as good as what I thought I saw in real life. So
Well,
I
this
don't
is
know.
okay. I'm gonna punch you. I'm gonna look for something here.
What I noticed was like with Samantha when we videotaped her. She used to do all the way up to last year in her horizontal 8. This first loop was placed here. Then she would go back and move the next intersection back about 2 feet and then nail the other 3. But she set the first one always to the right. You know, and I kept telling her, no, I'm not doing that. I had to show her on video. I'm like, okay, watch where this comes up and mark a tree or whatever. Now look where you're out. She goes, I can't be doing that. And I'm like, you need to mark.
Even after she saw it, she says, "No, I didn't do that." Right?
She goes,
Yeah.
she says, I can't be doing that. She goes, I don't see that at all. And it's the same thing with her wing over. She lays her head over on her side and she brings it up, must be over her left eye. And then when she turns, it's on it's straight, but it's on an angle. And I said, Samantha, you're not bringing that to the judges.
You're right back.
Right. And I had to prove it to her in a video.
The only way I can do a wing over straight overhead, and keep in mind you're talking to a high level intermediate flyer, whatever that is to watch the plane go straight up between my eyes and just don't do anything, you know, until you're coming down the other side. If you can manage not to apply any input, it's still going to be flying a straight line when it goes over the top.
Here's the second link I'm gonna send you guys. With you might want to take a look at this, especially you, Dennis. It's gone, right?
Yeah.
Okay. This second link I just put in here is from video tracing. That's done like what Steve said, and his latest version. Actually, it's capable of adding a the semi-sphere, the 45-degree elevation, and 4 semicircles that go over the top of your head at 90 degrees and then 45 degrees, and you can rotate that sphere to match it to your flight path, and you have a very, very solid visualization of what you're doing or not doing.
Yeah, I wanna buy a cam or a video or whatever. I want to see what he thinks the best lens is or whatever, you know, for that.
Yeah.
For that tracing thing. So,
it doesn't matter what you use, because his latest version that he put out, you can get like a checkerboard kind of thing, and you take a video of that, and you use that video file, and the software is looking at the video file and takes the distortion out of it.
Yeah, you went into a good description of that for us one day last week, or the week before, I think.
Hey, your picture's gone, Rusty.
I know. I'm doing something that involved unbuckling my pants. You want me to turn my camera back on?
Oh, yeah.
We want to see that. It's more fun now. So look, check this link out, you know, his second version anyways, that I just posted it here.
Well, it'll be on YouTube?
No, it's it's a blog spot.
Yeah, but I mean,
it's a Facebook blog spot.
Once this is off.
Hmm?
We have to go back on YouTube to pick it up. I don't know how to get.
I just put look in our group chat here under my name, and I see 2 links over here. One of them is my flight, and the second one is this video tracing that has a augmentation and compensates for whatever camera you're going to use for it. And you might want to look at it, Dennis, too, and because this is pretty awesome stuff. If you have any camera, and it works with any camera too. So it's actually the second version of it, and the first link I put here is just a flight that I put up. So if you want to get an idea how bad I fly or whatever.
No. Well, the other thing that you got to remember too is I don't know how long you've been flying and everything like that. You get to the point where, yeah, you're flying well, but when you get to the 98% point, you're only halfway home. So getting those last couple of percent is that's where the coach comes in and stuff like that, and the consistency and stuff like that. So yeah, you know, and it obviously sounds like you have the right airplane, the right power system. That's not an issue. The only thing that's an issue with you is just, you know, spending the time, getting to work, and things like that.
Yes.
And if you can do those things, and you know, that, then you got a chance of getting to the next level. So anyway,
yeah.
Oh, I'm not. I don't have. What am I supposed to have highlighted here? Anything?
All right. So yeah, I was thinking to share with you this this flight if you want to take a look at it, but I know it shows very bad in a group.
I'd like to see it. I didn't get a chance to see you fly.
Okay, I got Tryan's frame highlighted now. So.
What this? So I'd have to just maybe do a presentation screen share, right?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. You don't have anything to present, right?
Okay, it's an entire screen. Give me a
well,
second.
he was trying to share a link. Is there a way that he can send the link, or, you know, make it a copying text or something?
I got it. Yeah, there's the.
You have the link here.
Click on the link, and yeah, it takes a while for it to load with all this other junk open too. So anytime I open another, that's not popping up yet.
Okay, Tran, could you do something like, maybe, can you just send me a personal message or something like that with the link in it? I know that'll come through fine. I'll look at it later. But,
look in this in Hangouts on the right hand side has a group chat.
That's good. We could thank
Okay, I'm looking at it now.
Yeah, I'm downloading it right now as we talk. I got 32% downloaded.
I don't see anything except for us.
Okay,
I'm not seeing anything either.
I got a 3-minute video starting up now.
Go to the little blue box up there and click on that up in the left-hand corner.
Okay, I see it.
Then you'll see, then it's the second one down where it says HTTPS video F2B blog.
Yeah, it's Tryan's most recent post.
Yeah, so you click on that, and then I had to go and hit download, and then it's now downloading as we talk.
When I click on it, it says chat.
Pardon me?
When I click on it, it just says chat.
Doesn't say group chat?
No, it just says chat.
Let me try something.
And we're in the internal Hangouts chat box, not the YouTube chat box.
Yeah, I'm on the Google Hangouts.
Yeah, you see the blue box, the green box, and the yellow tags?
I see that, yeah.
Yeah, when I click on it, it comes up, you know, group chat, and then Sparky stuff's on there, and
I'm watching the flight right now. Well, trying to. Yeah, it's tough to do this on bandwidth level.
Right. I've copied the links, and I'll look at it later. I'll run out.
You'll have to watch it later. I got it going now. I see a plane flying. Okay. Zoom.
So, Rusty, how in the hell did you break your other hip? Chasing the wife around or what?
2 years of bearing all my weight on it while I let the left hip heal.
Right.
That's the reason.
Wrist fractured. There's a beautiful wing over. Wow.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Rusty, I know that I've had problems and I said stuff on here. You win. You don't have to. I'm out of this contest. Shit, you're going to.
I win, huh?
You win.
Okay, that was a beautiful wing over. There comes a square. No, that's a triangle.
I wish I could see it.
Oh, that's a round loop. I thought it was a triangle at first. It's a little jumpy, but it's better than I ever expected. Okay, now the inside loop is gone. And here comes Okay, we're doing inverted flight right now. Okay. Is
Wow.
everybody seeing what I'm seeing?
I'm
No.
not seeing nothing. I can
All
see
right.
you guys.
Coming up will be on the next lap should be the outside loops.
You
Here
have
we go.
to.
Plants, outside loops, down, down, down. Walk. It didn't walk much. It was good loops. Okay. A little high coming around. Okay, right at the top of his head. And now comes the square loops. Boom, 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 boom. Square loops were very, very square but low. It looked like from here, but
How tall are you, Tryon?
About 5'8".
Okay, so you're right at the top. I'm watching the video, and your level flights and bottoms are right at the top of your head.
yeah, that's where I'm seeing them too.
Yeah, sometimes they're a little bit above, so that's
Okay,
where I'm
here
seeing
comes the
it.
triangle. Nice,
It's easy
nice
to get
triangle.
over the 6 foot bottoms and stuff like that.
Okay, next comes the figure eight. All right, look at the intersection. If you caught the first one, slight X, but okay, and out. Okay, here comes the square figure eight. And first turn coming up now. And it walked to the right a little there. Walked to the left back. And it was back where the original intersection was. So we're back and forth on those intersections.
How about the bottoms on the outside? Were they higher or the same as the insides on the square eggs?
What I noticed with
not computing that. Okay, and
if you watch that Tryon on your vertical 8, and this is how when I worked with Samantha, you didn't finish. That was a beautiful figure 8, and then you got lazy at the end and just brought it straight and level. You
Wayne
didn't
does that too.
You didn't get the last part of that round, and that's what she gets lazy on. It's like, oh, I made this, and it's like, no, finish.
That was a pretty decent hourglass.
You want it to look just like you're going to do another one, and then just straighten it out.
Okay. Now here's the overhead 8s. Boom. Let's see where the intersection comes.
But that's what when Dennis is talking about the flow or whatever.
Yeah, that's a slight X, but we're not getting to see the whole thing.
Right. But I mean, it's little things like that. Why you think your one flight is better than the other, and technically. It could be on some stuff, but it's that finishing and making everything
over, and he climbs a little, back up, over, okay, around, over, slight climb, down, around, and up, and wing out.
Yeah, the thing with those things is that just a little bit to the side, and is the camera distortion.
Yeah, we're not straight on.
Yeah,
the perspective and quite straight on.
Yeah,
and that's it.
Yeah, so yeah, I would
just fly from National Tryon. I was just fly from somewhere else.
Oh, that's me.
But yeah, that's
that was a good intersection there.
That's what
those were good intersections. They might not have been straight up and down, but they were in the same place at 45 degrees.
Well, that's what judges see. They see the intersections. They see the beginning of a maneuver, and you see the end of it. And that's like commercials. They do that. They state whatever in the right at the beginning of a commercial, right at the end.
And there we have it.
And they're seeing the same thing. You know, it's their final sight of that maneuver.
I'm going to leave
out.
that. I'm going to leave that tab open so I can look at it later on again without all the bandwidth load.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's it's easier said than done. I always loved to watch Bob Hunt fly.
Yeah.
Didn't turn corners as tight as some of the guys, but I mean, it was like Les McDonald too. I mean, it was just one continuous maneuver. It's like nothing ever ended. It was just, when he went around, it was like nothing ended, nothing changed in height during the whole flight, anything like that. Derek Barry, I like to watch him fly too. He does.
Oh, I meant to ask. You reminded me when you mentioned Derek. How did Mike Waldron do?
Mike didn't fly stunt.
He didn't fly?
No. I gave him a hard time because 4, 5, 6 months ago he was talking trash. He was gonna kick my butt and all that kind of stuff. I go, you didn't even fly? I'm like, oh man, you're supposed to show up. So I gave him a hard time about it. So he didn't fly stunt, he flew combat.
I didn't know he was a combat flyer.
I didn't realize, he flew really well at Brodak and stuff. I guess I was expecting big things from him in Muncie.
Yeah, Impact top 5 nets pilot.
Who was that? Who's Mike Waldron?
From Florida.
I'm sorry, I misspoke.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, that was Mike Lonke. Not Waldron. I don't know who Mike Waldron is.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike Waldron's from Florida. And his dad, Don, is also an advanced pilot who could fly expert if he wanted to, but not maybe at the Nats. But at any local contest, Don could fly expert.
Yeah, Ron.
That's right. I always say Ron and Don.
Yeah, Ron's a terrific flyer too.
Yeah. So. Ron flew advanced at the Nats. He did fly advanced at the Nats.
But he was somewhere about middle of the pack, wasn't he?
I'm not sure if he made the qualifying.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like what gets to me is my inconsistency, because I'm burning a good flight and then just a mediocre one, what I call a mediocre flight. I mean, to me, like that's 10, 20 points in between them, something like that, So each maneuver, maybe it's a point more or a point less or something like that, makes a bunch of good maneuvers and then mess up a couple of them or so. Anyways, but it's just like, it's just like a little bit better, a little bit less, a little bit better, a little bit less. It's no like, I would prefer to be a little bit less, but be a little bit less all the time. I have some consistency, and then I said I can work on something. But it's almost like my flying feels like I'm beating around the bush, hoping to hit something.
Yeah,
kind of thing, right? So,
trying to hit a coach. That's what you need to hit.
Yeah. And granted, back then when I made this video, the plane wasn't even trimmed out properly at the time, and just there was I think I was at Huntersville contest. I was coming back home. I had like 3 batteries with me that were not used, and I instead of running them in my backyard to discharge them or put them on a charging unit to discharge them, I said, I'm just going to put 3 flights on my way home, right? So that's what I did that.
From listening to Rusty critique it too, I don't know if I want him judging me either, but he sounds like a hard ass.
Experienced judge, but I am trained.
Yeah. No, seriously, that's what you need. Is you need, when you get that coach, you need somebody who's going to stand up to you and say, you know what, you're not doing this right.
You suck.
And sometimes there's no way around it. You need somebody who just can say that. So
I was honestly giving it a try. I miss a lot when I'm judging still. That's my problem, is I have a problem watching the whole maneuver without stopping to think for just a split second on one part of it, and I've blown it then. So
well, that's what I was saying. Most people, and why commercials are done that way, remember the first part of something and the last part. The middle part's always fuzzy. If you see like a crime, they'll know how it started and it ended. What happened in the middle? What? Oh yeah, was there a middle? You know, something about your mind works that way.
Dave
Yeah.
Mentor has been my judge training mentor, and I think Dave's a really good judge. And I don't know how everybody else feels about it. I know lots of people don't rub with Dave's personality the right way, but whenever he and I judge together, we're always spot on within a point or two of each other. So
I didn't get the last name.
What's that? What,
I couldn't hear
Charles?
it.
I'm
What'd you
saying the
say?
last name, Rusty. Dave, what was his last name?
Wenzel, Wenzel. Old hippie with a ponytail. Looks
Oh,
like, well, I'm not even going to say that. Looks a little like me and Jack put together. Not Jack, me and Jeff put together.
Yeah, you can go there, Rusty. That's all right. I still got it.
You know, I was filming Friday, so I caught the top 20, and I was watching and I was filming, and come to find out, Jim Armour, I think that's his name, Uncle Jimby, he's Dave Fitzgerald's coach, and here he is. He was coaching him right then and there. So that might kind of put some light on how prolific some of these coaches can be. That you're still getting coached at the nationals, you know, on 20 day. Because I discovered that
Was Bob Zambelli in Muncie? Did y'all see Bob?
I didn't see him. No.
I didn't understand what you said, Rusty.
I was asking if Bob Zambelli was in Muncie.
I don't believe he went. He doesn't normally go to the nationals.
Doesn't he? Okay.
No.
Yeah. But anyways, I was filming, and Jim was kind of in my way a little bit, and the other guy was more in my way. And that's how I learned that Jim was Dave Fitzgerald's coach. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
You know, well, all the practice in the world and stuff, some people are never going to make it.
No, I'd fall into that category.
You know, that's just when I was shooting, like the coach said, he can get anyone to 97%. He can get like 60% of the people to 98%. And he only had 2 that made it to 99%. Out of 1,000.
Not that many people are that good. We're talking some seriously expert.
But that's what Dennis was saying. The 98, you still got that 2% to go, and that last 2% is what.
That's a hard road to hoe. Yeah.
Right, and sometimes you can get it for 6 months or so.
You can stumble over it, but
it's a lot of concentration and a lot of mind work and stuff like that to get. That last couple percent is usually in between the ears. It's not.
I remember an interview Bob did with Paul Walker one time. Sparky did with Paul Walker one time, and Paul was at the World Championships, and I don't remember which country it was in, but he was in the middle of the pattern and realized that he was listening to the guy on the loudspeaker calling a racing or event across the way, and snapped to and continued on and finished his pattern and actually won it, I think. But yeah, that's a muscle memory. It was just running on autopilot.
Well, Paul Walker on his first flight went out on the top 5 and did his oval laps and started a square. Inside the square. So it tells you the pressure, even for a world champion or whatever, what it does to you.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
he left out his loop, his round loops to get to the square loop. So that tells me that they were coaching. He was having problems.
Yeah,
and they were working on shit with that square. Something was up.
and he was repeating them. Yeah.
So hard about not messing up that square loop. He just did it.
I have forgotten to exit inverted on my inside loops before. and egg it out. Oops, I forgot. And then they make a big egg and come back around and go the other way. So,
But yeah, you know, got two of his numbers. So
Yeah.
it happens, you know, and you know, it's just it's pressure, and it's just being able to take the pressure for 5 minutes.
I have to work on my details now. You know, when Rusty was saying something about from the video, and I can see it clearly. You know, some things over there are just not right, and intersections dancing around, two loops on top of each other, and the third one is kind of
walking.
You know, it has the tops and the bottom, but they are much wider. You know, it's
Yeah.
like an ellipse on the last one.
Yep.
Right.
That's
It hits.
relaxing your mind.
Yeah.
Is what that is. The concentration is there. Then
Mhm.
all of a sudden you let up on the concentration a little bit, and that's
More people screw up the exit loop on the horizontal 8 than just about any other stunt I've ever seen.
But yeah, you know, when you're going through that, you're on your last one. Tell yourself, speak out loud, finish. You know, Samantha does that all the time. The hero say, finish, finish. She's reminding herself, damn it,
Yeah.
keep concentrating and finish that. Don't,
Yeah.
oh, that, you know, I got my overhead part. I didn't get blown out of there. Screws up the exit. You know, it's like, oh my God. You know, you flew in the wind, you got the top part, and then your just brain went soft on the bottom side out.
The one I was talking about is actually the horizontal round figure 8, is that people make that last exit loop too big.
Well, if you look at his flight, that's what he did. He hit he hit that last intersection. I'm looking where he hit him both times. Came through that intersection. It was like, yeah, I hit that, and then wasn't concentrating then to bring out that bottom perfect. But you know that's the practice of keeping your concentration more than you can do. You can fly the pattern. You know how to do it. You just got to be able to concentrate.
For my own confidence in judging, and this was strictly an impromptu I did a few minutes ago on Trayan's flight, but I hope I was able to show you something you'd never noticed before. I don't know if I did or not, but
no, you did. No, you did. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, so what I'm working on is details right now. So one thing I noticed, like a lot of people doing a mistake, and sometimes I'm thinking like it's probably better to X a horizontal 8, the round 8, than just try to go vertical and change direction, because some people take their sweet little time changing the direction of the plane, and by the time you have like a vertical ellipse on the outside. So you start with the round loop, and then you have this vertical ellipse, and then you have another vertical ellipse, and you have another vertical ellipse, and it just looks so strange and stuff like that. And what I discover is that, you know, for myself, what works for me anyways, do the loop, and just before I hit the apex, you know, the just before I'm vertical, just I'm almost there, you know, and just from up control to the down control, it's just a snap. It just go from here to bam, instant, right? So then the plane takes the very last bit of it, because it has the inertia into it, right? And you have to change the direction of motion from one circle to the other one, and by doing that, you know, just transition looks almost instant.
Yep.
So I've been working on that, but I just started to do this just a few flights ago.
You know, I was saying that the most messed up I've seen the best pilots do is the last loop of the round horizontal 8. The next most messed up part that I see is the crossover part going in either direction of the clover leaf. And people always like to climb as they're coming back around rather than go straight across.
Yeah, I kind of step on a four-leaf clover. What I'm trying to do, anyways, I'm trying to establish the level, right? So I'm flying level, and just as I enter my clover, I just snap the control, just instant. So it would fly the loop, and then I'm concentrating to stop at the same spot where I started, right? And then lock it in there, right? Just stop the turn. Just now you're flying level, just crossing over to the other side, and then now you're snapping on a down line, and just turn until you're vertical. And as soon as it's vertical, lock it in there, and just let it climb. You
Well,
know.
the one thing in the clover is that that vertical line looks like that because you're flying in a sphere.
Yes.
It looks like you're climbing.
That is
That's true, and that's what we argued about flying to the judges. Because the judges, it looks like you're going up. To the pilot, it looks like you're flat. Same thing with your
Yes.
down. To the judges, it looks like you're coming out. To the pilot, he's flying straight. If you want to make it, you got to fly him in more if you want the judges to see that. So
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's not flying the pattern. I mean, it's like the
No,
judges should know
I
what should be
agree.
or shouldn't be.
You
right,
shouldn't be
but
trying to
just
do
like what
that.
Rusty said, everybody does that. Climbs on that clover. They're not really climbing. It's an optical illusion because you're flying in that sphere.
Yeah, the sphere looks like you're going up and down if you fly at that
Right.
fast an
And
altitude
that's,
from the judge's point of view.
you
Yeah.
can do it perfect, but it looks to the judges like that's climbing. It will, so that's why with Samantha, I know it's going to look that way for me. Do I get her to change it for the looks for the judges?
No,
Does she have to fly it for herself?
not if you think she's truly flying level.
She is. It's optical illusion for the judges. So you didn't realize you were seeing an optical illusion when you were judging.
Yeah, because the judge doesn't sit next to you in a circle
Right.
to know if you're
The
climbing or
only
not.
place you can possibly see it.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's like I said, judges all the time mark people down for stuff that is an optical illusion.
Yeah,
You
but
know
that
what?
climb should be at the end, right? Not ascending, because it's a circular path. I mean, that should be parallel to your level lap, and they both should be flat.
In a four-leaf clover, we
So maybe if they're climb, it should be at the end. But I've seen people where it's an ascension when they're doing the 4-leaf clover. It's an ascension and it's a descent. Descension going the other way. So I think it's they're flying it. They're not flying it level.
yeah, like
Yeah, I
in
think a lot
a
of people.
video, like in a video that Rusty was just looking at it because of the distortion from the camera, and because it's not exactly down opposite from the camera is not pointing
Yeah,
exactly
that
opposite
camera
from
was
me.
offset a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yes, it looks like I'm climbing or I'm diving or something like
Yeah.
that, but I was actually not doing that. I know that
You're
for a
off.
fact. So, uh, and and
That's where your grid that you can compare to the grid as you fly can help. So,
Well, you'd
yeah.
almost need, what I said is like with judges on something that moved with the airplane. So that when it's in front of you, you're straight. And as you come across on that clover, you got to rotate around to see that airplane still at a 90. Because when that comes over and you're looking at it at a different angle, it makes it look like it's climbing or,
Yes.
same
Yeah.
thing with outside deals. And because you're not no longer straight in line with that airplane.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You notice that when you watch videos of indoor flyers like Berger flying the indoor pattern, and
Yeah.
because it's a very small sphere, it's very hard to get the proportions of it all.
It's
very
flying like what 6.5 or 7 seconds too, I think. So
yeah, it's very hard to judge it and see just where those maneuvers really are. But all we can do is just compare at the end of it, just compare how other people are flying. When you're a judge, you tend to do that. You're just looking at the style of the flyers and how each one performs their maneuvers and how they compare to each other.
Yeah.
But judging is very hard. I know that time I
Yeah.
did judging, I wasn't critical enough. I was a little bit too forgiving of errors. And somebody that can be very analytical and then tell you as well what you've done wrong is really great, because often they'll judge you and they won't tell you what you're doing wrong. You just know you're not getting the scores that others are, and
Yeah,
it's there.
that is done now. This is one of the beefs I have with the judging and the nationals. They have their meetings in which they discuss their stuff over there, but we are not allowed to go over there, and I find this bullshit. know. If you stay over there in your meeting and you decide what you're gonna judge on and not judge on, and emphasize and not emphasize, we should be
Should be privy to that.
privileged of that information. You don't just go over there and just start guessing at what they are looking at or not looking at, you know.
Yeah.
Even though, you know, just yeah. Uh, so that's that. Let me try to share with you this screen. Let's see. I'm
But
trying
you
to
know,
present.
like anybody out there trying to get better. I mean, with Samantha, she flew well, and then Big Art, you know, said, "Hey, you
Do you
got to get
guys see this?
right. You got to get set up before that airplane gets there, and you got to be set up the same every time."
You're not sharing yet.
And that's the one thing that, you know, we worked on a lot there after Brodat.
It's disabled.
Once Art, you know,
Disabled?
Yeah, I cannot.
flying.
I cannot click on the share button.
That's weird.
I cannot click on the share button.
Mine works. Got it on application window.
I try both. I have the share is not. It's just a cancel. It's active. I cannot share. Might be might be from your end, Rusty.
Yeah, might be.
Yes, it's disabled. We cannot share our screens.
Yeah, I'm looking at it over here, but I got everything turned on and working. So,
Hey, Denver, if you're going to go to Bob's contest or FCM, let me know, and I'll try to make the one you're at. But I still want you to fly that Ferretti system and that.
Yeah, I guess. So, yeah, no, you know, I can get into this to present to everyone. Let me see if I can do a screen share.
yeah, nothing I do is working either.
No, I cannot share. It's not
Look,
allowing me.
I gotta go. I've been up since 5:30 this morning, and I'm whipped.
Okay. Hey,
I'll see everybody Monday.
The show. I'm really tired. I got a lot of resting to catch up on too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I put it here in the links on our group chat links. If you look in our group chat, the very last link that I put over there, the blogspot stuff. If you click on that and look at it, and it's a video tracing program where you can take a video of your own flight, and the program is going to trace it for you wherever the plane was, and you can also do the distortion and put the frame, the wire frame of the sphere on which you're flying.
Yeah.
And you can have a pretty solid idea of if it's a good flight, a bad flight, if it's your 45s or 45s, if are above or below, how the corner look, everything. So I found it very nice. You know, it's like I'm gonna start to use it. Yeah. So okay. So what can I say? Good night, guys. Thanks for everything. Okay.
Okay. I guess Rusty, we're signing off then.
Yeah, I guess so.
Hey, by the way, is this the last one on YouTube or?
It's like looking at the calendar. We'll have Monday.
Monday
on this, yeah, and then next Friday is going to be different, and we'll try to, between me and Sparky, we'll try to put some instructions up about how to handle it before the showtime comes on.
All right.
It should be more simple, actually, from you guys that visit with your cameras and mics. It's the tubers that we're going to be having a problem with. So
yeah, last Friday, Sparky put up a video, a quick one, and he was trying out some new app. It was called, I downloaded it.
yeah, it's called Appear In.
Appear In, that's it.
Yeah.
That works pretty good.
No telling what'll happen now that I've said that. They might they might demonetize the whole thing for me just having said that word. But anyway, whatever they do.
Well, yeah, that's true. But that was a pretty good presentation, so to speak. Me and Len joined him last Friday.
Rusty, you
Sparky
might
had a
want to
pretty
take
good
me
show
off
on
present.
Saturday. I was glad to see that. It was like probably Tuesday or Wednesday before I got around to looking at it. But y'all only had a few people, but yeah, Lynn was there, and I don't remember which of you other guys were there, but he held down the fort really well. So appreciate that he did that. Okay, guys. Well, I guess we will call it a night. But hey, good discussion on judging and stuff. I like to talk about that kind of thing. So y'all have a great weekend, and we'll come back Monday and have one last hoorah on the Hangouts, and then we'll see what happens when Friday rolls around, and be as prepared as we can for it. And until then, y'all, I'll hope you have fair winds, tight lines, and fly safe. And
Yeah, you too, Rusty. It's good
all right,
seeing
And
you.
man.
Rusty, don't
Yeah.
break anything, will you?
Oh, good idea, Dennis. Thanks
Yeah,
for reminding me of
yeah,
that.
yeah. All right.
That's my biggest.
You take care of yourself, man. We're
That
worried
is
about
my
you. So
biggest thing is that it happens when it happens so fast
yeah,
that there's no planning for it. You always
that's
think, oh, I
it.
can get myself out of that, but I'll do my best. That's the best I can do. So,
All righty.
All
okay,
Take
right.
care, my
people,
friend.
we enjoyed it. Thanks for having a great show, and you YouTubers as well. We got some good super chat donations. So, y'all all have a great weekend, and we'll see y'all later. So, we're
We'll
officially
see you later. Take
All
care.
right. Good night.
all
Take
right.
care of yourself, man.
All right.
Mhm.
Good night.
Yeah,
Good
bye.
night.